What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am one half of the Hot Mic here, the Outlaw John Rocha, joined by the other half, the Scoop Master over there, Jeff Sneider. How are you, Sneider?
I am good, Johnny. A little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah? What's going on?
There's no Deadpool scoop. There's no Deadpool scoop, folks. I just used a what is that, a GIF? A GIF?
A GIF. The kids say GIF nowadays. What's wrong with you? It's your first time? What's wrong with you?
GIF. But yeah, I didn't promise a Deadpool anything, bro.
But you did tweet out that you would have some kind of Marvel scoop, so we are not. I don't even know this. That's the great thing about doing the show with Jeff.
I can't even let you anymore.
I don't know when he's dropping the Marvel scoops, but certainly later on in the show.
He will give away a hint, some clue that he thinks is clever, that isn't that clever, that Boris will be able to decipher or something like that.
I like this Scoop Doggy Dog. I like Scoop Dog. That's a good. I like Scoop Dog for Jeff. I dig that. I'll give you that mantle. I love that. And of course, big shout out to Above the Line, who sponsors us here on the Hot Mic now. Go to abovetheline.com, read all the great articles and opinion pieces, reviews, all kinds of stuff going on there at Above the Line. Of course, curated by Jeff Sneider over there. So great stuff going on. Read a few of the articles this week, which I really enjoyed. So
I have so many guest articles that I need to edit and post. It's crazy. Like I'm getting backed up. I have so much good stuff. I don't know what it's all timely and relevant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I only have two hands.
You do only have two hands. Anyway.
Now, where are we starting with Wakanda?
Let's start out with Wakanda. Before we do, though, just because we're sponsored doesn't mean we don't still, need your Streamlabs and SuperChats.
Oh, yeah. People think we're on Easy Street here, John.
No, it's not true. It's not true. We're still on hard Scrabble Street. So please send in your Streamlabs and your SuperChat. You see the Streamlabs address right above Jeff's head there. You know, we do so much to bring you great breaking news, scoops, get you ahead of the game. Who was talking about James Gunn running DC before they even wrote about it? It was us last week. For sure. So that's the kind of thing you get being a member of the Hot Mic. We got 168 of you joining us already. So thank you so much. Please hit that like button, but send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. Jeff, let's start. Yeah. Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. The premiere was last night, and neither you nor I got to go. So a number of people were there, though, that we know they got to see it, and we're dropping their first reactions to it. I'm going to bring up the Variety article that's covering these reactions. We'll take a look at a couple of them, review them, and then we'll decide which one we want to talk about for sure. But let's hit it first here. So we've got this. It came out last night. It's Clinton Davis over there, Variety. Of course, they're going to put their own reviewer up first here. He says it's a beautiful tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Visual stunner with Angela Bassett commanding every scene she inhabits. Rihanna's Lift Me Up will do that for many. Another great post-credit scene that's genuinely a jaw-dropper. Don't know about Oscars. Then Brian David's over here saying Black Panther Wakanda Forever is Marvel's most poignant and powerful film to date. It's heavy and dark in the way that it needed to be and mostly abandons the studio's trademark tone. The craft work levels up in every conceivable way and the performances rise to the occasion. Charles, which from Mercury at Charles Pulliam says Wakanda Forever is bigger in scope and scale than Black Panther, but its story is also one of Marvel's most intimate and heartfelt. It's definitely a comic book movie, but it's one that centers on grief and grieving process rather than superheroics and spectacle. Full review coming soon. And I want to get to Wendy's. Danny said, no spoilers. Danny Fernandez, Wakanda Forever had so many emotions. It was creepy and brutal in parts, heartbreaking and beautiful, and the fight scenes were wild. I'm in awe of the care put into representing these cultures. I know Danny is very clear about how she wants to have culture represented just as I am on screen with something like this. And Wendy says, Wendy Lee, Wakanda Forever will take you on a roller coaster of emotions while Chadwick's absence is felt. The cast performance is phenomenal. The journey and mourning each cast goes through is felt through the film. Tons of action. Namor is fantastic. The only negative one I saw was from Matt Ramos, who last I saw was videotaping himself reacting to the Black Adam's post-credit scene. So he was the only one that I saw that was really negative of the people that have a big following tweeting this out or critics tweeting this out. So what do you take from these first reactions? Is this like the Black Adam situation? We had a lot of positive first reactions and then more people went to see it and it kind of took it down. Do you think this is not the case here, that it's actually a damn good movie?
I mean, it sounds like it's good. I mean, the first Black Panther was good. I didn't, that was certainly one of the better Marvel movies for sure.
Yeah.
And deserving of its Best Picture nomination, absolutely. Do I put any stock or any faith in these reactions? None. No, zero. None whatsoever.
Okay.
Because I just feel like these people are almost have to be positive. And they're like scared into thinking that they have to be positive and that they won't be invited back for the next premiere if they slam a movie.
Oh.
I really do think that they put a lot of thought into that. And listen, I truly believe that Marshall at Disney is one of the best publicists out there.
Yes, Marshall's great. I love Marshall.
And you know what? But like, I think a lot of people really want to please Marshall. And I think that they're really afraid of upsetting Marshall with their opinions on movies.
I don't know. Marshall and I have gone back and forth at times on DM on Instagram about movies we agree with or disagree with. But I don't. I don't know. I did not have a positive reaction to Eternals, and I haven't been to a Marvel premiere since. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. I would have loved to have been invited to this as a Latino critic and a guy running his own outlet to have a Tenoch Huerta lead. It would have been fun to cover that, but this is the way it goes sometimes. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
We all have favorite publicists, and we all have favorite publicists in the game.
Yes.
And I think Marshall is a lot of people's favorite publicist.
Yeah,
and maybe that's why Disney keeps him there. He's doing a damn good job managing everything. You can't deny the way that the Marvel publicity machine and all that operates.
Yeah.
There's a reason folks like me are not invited to these events anymore because they know I'm going to be, too critical or whatever.
Well, you got to be honest, not too critical, honest. And last I checked, there's nothing wrong with being honest. If you're a critic, that's literally your fucking job, is to be honest, to break things down, to look at it, and to have evidence to back up your points that are in the movie. That's kind of important in a critic. And too many people get caught up with negative criticism. Read the negative criticism. There might actually be logic behind these negative points, and it does not have to affect your love of a movie. I think too many people are sensitive nowadays about negative criticism, that they can't possibly read anything negative about the thing they love. And it's like, no, that's what makes you love something more, is that you read the criticism and love it anyway. You understand the criticism and love it anyway. I just don't understand the snowflake aspect of being so afraid of negative criticism of a movie. And I'm not talking about publicists. I'm talking about critics and fans. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. It's not like they're not inviting me to the movie. I was invited to a screening, this afternoon.
Yes, me too.
To see the movie next week or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that they're trying to keep people like me away from the movie, but I think it's just a clear tendency. You can see who's invited to these. Like, it would be naive to pretend that this guest list is not curated a certain way, okay, that invites certain people from certain sites that are kind of predisposed to enjoying what they're watching.
Right. Well, like I said, say that again.
Is it possible to deny that? I don't think it is. It's undeniable.
Well, Scott Mantz didn't write the best negative review, although he kind of changed, didn't write the best review last night, but then he kind of changed his review this morning a little bit. Scott Mendelson here says Black Panther entertains, but spends way too much time setting up future MCU projects and coping with its nonfiction tragedy. It also often feels like a mix and match of prior, frankly, inferior Marvel movies. Works best when it's just allowed to be Black Panther 2. And Scott, from Forbes over there. So not everybody had a positive review of it. So there is some,
Fair enough. I didn't mean to go too down, the rabbit hole in terms of, my conspiracy theories as far as who gets invited to what and when.
Right.
But all I'm saying is take this first wave of reactions with a grain of salt, as I always do coming out of Marvel movies, where you see the score is like 90-something%, and then the common folks like myself see it, and the score dips down to the 70s or whatever.
Just call yourself common. You don't even believe that, you son of a
bitch. Right, but that's what he thinks. So we'll see. We'll see if they think that by the end of this.
Yeah. Well, this gets me excited. I'm not seeing it until the 9th, unfortunately, down here in San Diego. I also got invited to go see it on the 7th, but I think if it's just 2 days later, I'm okay to just wait down here. The premiere would have been nice to be at just for the overall spectacle of it, but I'm okay to wait down here for the 9th.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm too old to put up a fight. The younger Jeff would have absolutely fired off an email and been like, I see Boris taking photos from the hard. Why am I not there? Why am I not invited? I'm too fucking old for it. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I'm with you on that front. I'm too old to go dumping in. The great Lou Brown once said, I'm too old to go diving into lockers, as he once said. So let's hit a couple of these Streamlabs that have come through. Adam Jimenez says, hey, guys, I honestly don't trust these initial reactions. Let's all remember when Eternals came out, it was rave reviews. And while I actually think it's one of the better MCU movies, it was very divisive. So I do not believe these are reactions, but I'm excited to see it anyways. I think that's totally fair. Babylon, this is from Peter Can't Talk Right Now. Babylon and Avatar just got announced to be 3 hours. Is real director cinema back? Also, John, happy belated. 35 looks great on you. That's right, it does. Jeff, Babylon and Avatar got announced to be 3 hours. This Wakanda Forever is 2 hours and 40 minutes. We've got Eternals, who was 2 hours and 40 minutes. We've seen the long movies. So do you think this signals that the real director cinema is back? Or is this hubris?
Yeah, director cinema. What? No, there's no need for most of these movies to be 3 hours. James Cameron has earned 3 hours. James Cameron has earned a fucking 4th hour. Okay,
that's true.
So he can make movies as long as he wants.
Yeah.
2 hour and 40 minute fucking comic book movie. I don't need it. I don't need it. 225 seems like a really good ceiling.
Seems like that's where you want to be. Yeah, fair point.
I mean, you're not even. Are these studios even factoring in? And you can't deny this either. You have to add 26 minutes. It's 26 minutes of trailers at AMC these days.
Oh, at AMC for sure. Yeah, right.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's mind blowing how much it is for sure. All right, let's see here. All right, so we got no more Streamlabs that have come through. Keep sending them in, people. Streamlabs and Super Chat, support the show. Owen Lanning says, what are you guys' thoughts on sleeping with other people? Absolutely loved it and don't know how I was so behind on finding it. Great performances and felt so real. Did you see this?
Sir, of sleeping with other people, like now available. It's the 99-cent deal on iTunes. What are my thoughts on sleeping? Have you even heard of sleeping with other people?
I've not heard of sleeping with other people. I probably might have seen it, but I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah.
I believe it's a Sudeikis movie.
Oh, Sudeikis? Is it really? Oh, okay.
It's about sex addicts.
There's an irony that Sudeikis did a film called Sleeping with Other People. I'm just going to leave it at that. But the things I know.
I think it's Sudeikis. I remember liking it.
Okay.
It was okay. It was like I bet you if someone goes back to the insider.blogspot.com and finds the year that it came out, you'll see it. Just do a control find for the title. I bet you it's 2.5 stars.
Did you give it 2.5 stars?
I bet you
2015.
Out of 4 stars, John. Out of 4 stars, not 5 stars.
Oh, that's right. This is the one with him and Alison Brie. Oh, directed by Leslie Headland. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll check it out. I loved her direction.
A wild question. You know what? That's the kind of thing where if you drop $20, you get to ask a wild ass question.
You do. Someone who has carte blanche, though, is my man Jason Inman. He is in here. Says, I think James Cameron has earned a retirement. I'm not certain anyone in the world wants an Avatar 6. Hope you're well, fellas. What do you think, Jeff?
He said 6?
He said that Cameron should retire. I don't think anyone in the world wants an Avatar 6.
We're not getting Avatar 6. We're getting Avatar.
Do you understand what he's getting at, though? Is like he's done.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I get it. Yes. Jesus. No. He's earned a retirement. No. Cameron's one of those guys that just want to drop dead on set one day, just doing what he loves. Like die. Honestly, that's the headline I want. I want James Cameron dies in a submarine accident or something like that, where he just goes doing what he loves underwater. Should we all be so lucky?
Yeah, that's for sure. I just read about a guy in Suffolk in England who died at 55 years old in the middle of his radio show there in Suffolk at 55 years old. That's how I want to go, in the middle of a show. And then you just go.
James Cameron still has the spirit and vigor of a young man, though. Like, I feel like he's going to be with us for a long time.
He does. And certainly he was snarking this week. And let's get your thoughts on that real quick since we're bringing it up. James Cameron, did you hear his comments about the Marvel movies? Jeff, any thoughts on what he had to say there, calling them? What did he say? They said that they were, oh, yeah, here we go. He has cranky thoughts about Marvel. This is his quote. They were asking him about what he thought about how things have gone up in here with Marvel and how it's affected things in the world of film. And he basically stated that he thought Marvel movies were missing these emotional connections with their characters that used to decorate these films in the past. Do you like this idea? Do you think he's right? Do you think he's wrong? What do you think about his thoughts on this whole thing?
I mean, as a general statement, I think he's right, but obviously there are outliers of the genre that prove him wrong. Same stuff that Scorsese said, which really is just like he's entitled to his opinion. He's earned the right to say whatever the hell he wants, quite frankly. Yeah. He's fucking James Cameron. He's the king of the world.
Yeah, fair enough.
But is he entirely right? No. I will certainly give certain comic book movies credit. I mean, we've had 2 Oscar-winning performances from one character alone, right? Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix. So I do think
good point.
There is nuance there. What do you think, John?
Yeah, nobody ever won an Oscar in a James Cameron film for acting. So I absolutely agree with you. And another part of this too, look, I love James Cameron, respect James Cameron to pieces, but I know he's got strong opinions about filmmaking, how filmmaking should be. He's also an old man, so he's like perception of filmmaking is back from the 1980s when he was first successful.
He would beat the shit out of you if he heard you say you call him an old man.
Yeah, he could try. I suppose he could try. But but this is the thing that I find to be ironic. And again, I respect James Cameron, most successful director ever. Don't bet against James Cameron. But by the same token, what's the big knock James Cameron always gets on his movies? The story and the script. Those are the things that they most knock about James Cameron's movies. I mean, go back and read that Titanic script and try not to cringe through most of it. Even though I like the movie and I've defended the movie many times, the script itself, I'm well aware, is not that great. You go back and watch True Lies, there's some racism there. There's some misogyny there. So there's stuff to explore with his own movies where it's not. I don't even like Edward Furlong in Terminator 2. I'm not one of those guys who likes him in that movie. So this idea of family and connective tissues and this idea that they never hang up their spurs because of their kids, the things that really ground us and give us power, he doesn't have a lot of that in his movies. So, and even Avatar is just taking the Native American story and turning it into a film. And need I say more about Unobtainium? So I find it odd for him to be the one going after these superhero movies when a lot of his movies have these superhero film characteristics to them. There's a bit of hypocrisy from my outside purview of watching this whole thing. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, jeez.
You're so scared. Who's scared now, Jeff? Anyway, let's move on to some Star Wars story. Unless we have any more Streamlabs. Oh, we got one that came
for this scoop. The scoop will be later in the show, guys. We don't don't just give it away up front. You got to take me to dinner first.
Well, we've got let's move on to some Star Wars here. Keep sending in your Streamlabs and Super Chats, people. And for those of you who are watching, we got well over 250 you watching right now. Hit that like button as well. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. A secret writer's room, a rising scribe, and a post Skywalker storyline here. Jeff, Damon Lindelof has found the director for his Star Wars movie. It is one of the directors from Ms. Marvel. What's your reaction to this? Are you excited about this? Does this make you more excited, nervous, or more excited for a Damon Lindelof Star Wars movie? And do you think it's going to happen?
I do think it's going to happen.
Okay.
In fact, I think it actually has a release date.
What? What does that mean?
I'm like, wait, I have to keep track of like what I'm allowed to say. I think it's going to come out December 2025.
Wow.
I think it's that December 19th, maybe.
You think it's really happening? And you think it's going to come out in 2025?
I've been saying that since I reported. So I broke that story in March.
Right, Lindelof story
this summer about Lindelof. Mm-hmm. Followed it up this summer saying that he'd been, seen on a lot, doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I mean, what I had originally reported was like it was unclear whether this guy's going to be writing the script or leading a writer's room, or I knew he was working on something up there, right?
Yeah.
So it turned out he was leading a writer's room. Boris got the names and everything, and there were some interesting names in there, like Patrick Somerville.
Yeah, Patrick Somerville, Raina McClendon, and Andy Greenwald. Yeah.
Right, fucking Andy Greenwald, unbelievable that how far that guy's come in his career. And so there was a writer's room. In the end, Justin Britt Gibson, who is Daryl Britt Gibson's brother, I really like Daryl Britt Gibson as an actor, by the way. So it's his brother Justin is going to be co-writing the script with Damon. And they have that director from Miss Marvel. So I think that's an interesting package. I think that we'll see it Christmas 2025 is what I think. Do they have
sure. Good.
Do they have a date like stamped out for that?
I don't see it in the details here. The director is Charmin Obaid Chinoy. I hope I'm saying that right. As I said, she's a director on Ms. Marvel. And there's not it's not saying where the film is going to be set. It's not known if the film will be set after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. New report says the film could feature characters from the latest Star Wars trilogy, though it will not be explicitly linked to the Skywalker saga. So I've seen the rumors now going around that we would see the return of Daisy Ridley, maybe, or Adam Driver. Well, not Adam Driver, I guess he's dead, but maybe Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac, or Finn, maybe even John Boyega.
I have no idea which characters from that trilogy you might see.
Okay.
I hope that they keep that to a minimum. I think that people want to see new. I think that trilogy was that trilogy. This is the date that Taika has right now.
Okay.
So Taika's Star Wars is December 19th, 2025. But I think fans can maybe read between the lines, right, of what's been reported. Yeah. I don't know that he's really there yet. So I think that Damon's movie will inherit that date.
Yeah. No damn way that no damn way that is going to. I don't think that's going to happen by 2025. No, especially if they're still working on this one here. No way. We've got 300.
That confirmed.
Huh?
It was nice that they finally confirmed that the trades finally acknowledged that there was a fucking Damon Lindelof movie in the works.
That's true. I'm excited for it. We'll see how it comes about. He's using, some interesting writers, certainly a lot of small screen director, small screen writers kind of telling this story. And we saw what he's done before. So could be very interesting to see what kind of Star Wars we're going to get here.
Swing, man, just take a fucking swing. Do something different.
Well, look at Andor. Andor is completely something different.
I need to watch Andor. I know everyone's really liking Andor. I said that it looked really good. I have not seen a single minute of the show.
Come on.
I need to.
You need to watch it. Micah says, Jeff, I loved your Amazon take in The Ankler. Why do you think they've been burned by first look deals, Woody Allen, Kenneth Lonergan, and Plan B Television, etc.?
I mean, Woody Allen, got swept up in the Me Too stuff. We were letting Woody got a pass, right, for everything for a while. Everybody was cool with Woody. And then one day we were just like, we're not cool with Woody anymore. So they kind of got fucked there. Kenneth Lonergan, I don't know who would give this guy a deal. It takes 10 years to make anything. he's like Terrence Malick. I don't understand.
Casey won an Oscar, and
Kenneth Lonergan is a brilliant genius, and frankly, you don't rush brilliant geniuses. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got nothing over the term of that pact. And Plan B TV, I don't know.
It's for sale right now.
Plan B makes a lot of great movies.
Yeah.
I don't know what the record is in TV. I know that they did Outer Range.
Yeah, which is getting a second season.
It is. But I just think of Plan B as film producers. I don't know if TV is really their ball game.
Fair enough. Mike Joyce wants to know, is Woody Allen Targaryen? No, Woody Allen is Laris Strong. That's who Woody Allen is. Skulking around the castle trying to manipulate people. Let's see. Twin Paradox says, now I have to ask, what headline or announcement would be the one to give you the heart attack that finally does you in? Kim Kardashian producing a Citizen Kane remake. That would pretty much give me a fucking heart attack. That's for goddamn sure. Jeff, do you have anything that will give you a heart attack if you were to read it in the trades?
if it was like, fucking Pattinson to play Michael Corleone or something, right?
Pacino to play Al Pacino in the story of his life.
I'm just thinking of something that I could actually see happening, maybe, but holy shit, God no. Yeah, that would be bad.
Taylor Lautner as Al Pacino. Let's see. All right. Smithy says, "Hey guys, sorry for the Scoop Dog thing. It was good. Couldn't resist. I thought it was good. Now tell me the story of when James Cameron helped Guillermo del Toro get his kidnapped father back. Point of the story: he may seem like a bad guy, but he's there when your parents get kidnapped." I don't know this story. What is he talking about?
Who is he talking about?
James Cameron.
I don't remember that.
Smithy, you asked the weirdest questions, brother. I'm sorry. Thank you, though. I appreciate you sending it in.
Let's get back on track. Let's get the show back on track.
I'm sorry. Adam Jimenez says, I really like James Gunn and SAFFRAN taking over because they have the relationship with auteur directors. But this can be what makes DC being actually director friendly and bringing the auteurs to make the films. I feel Gunn will be understanding of that. All right, let's make the switch now, Jeff, to DC. Shall we do that?
Yeah, let's talk DC. Holy crap. DC.
Go ahead. What an incredible thing.
I responded to it, but it was your idea. You were really the one who called it.
I did. Well, I had a feeling because he was taking meetings and there were a number of movies they were kicking around. I'm like, why are they talking to this guy so much? And if they're talking to this guy so much, just in my head, it occurred to me like, could be interesting to see him take over and run DC because he's a filmmaker. And certainly it might be, I felt like they were looking for somebody who could understand how to tell a whole story. And I think they loved what they got with Peacemaker. They love what they got with the Suicide Squad. And I thought James Wan, way back when I was a Collider after Aquaman, James Wan would have been someone that they were kicking the tires on. So it wasn't that much of a jump or a leap for me to think of James Gunn as a possibility, but I didn't think they were really going to do it. I just was kicking it around in my mind. So the fact that the announcement came down with Peter Safran, his producing partner, this is very interesting. They're delineating things like he's in charge of creative, Safran's in charge of business and deals, but Gunn keeps saying he's not going to stop directing movies. So this is fascinating. It's a 4-year deal. I mean, this is a lot to take on and also think you're going to shoot movies. Do you think this was the right choice? And do you think they're insane?
I think, first of all, I think it was a great call by David Zaslav. Like, it's a bold swing. And when you are competing with Marvel and you are trying to get your Kevin Feige, who we all know there is no other Kevin Feige.
There isn't.
I think Gunn, he's like a showman, right? Mm-hmm. He has the same showman sort of DNA. And I think that he does understand the genre very well. Mm-hmm. I had sort of dismissed him last week in the sense that, like, I didn't think his aesthetic would maybe be perfect. But, it doesn't necessarily have to be his aesthetic. I think it's the opportunity of a lifetime for him, for a kid who grew up reading these comic books. Now he's in charge of all of them, and he gets to say, oh, this filmmaker would be perfect for this. And we want to use Jon Stewart. Like, the stuff already with the Green Lantern. Holy shit, thank God. Because that was a mess. You're telling me you wanted to spend, that was supposed to be one of the biggest TV shows ever in terms of budget. It was like 120, 150 million or something like that. And it was on the shoulders of Finn Wittrock and Jeremy Irvine. Like, what are we doing here? So now they're going to make him black, Jon Stewart. I think that's already a great call. It was a little confusing, right?
Okay.
Because the news sort of said that they'd been consulting Safran and Gunn throughout the process. Right. And so I guess, was it their idea to go to Dan Lin or whatever? And then when Dan Lin didn't work out, they were like, well, let's just do it ourselves. I'm very confused how it all went down, but it sounds like they really wanted Peter. Yeah. And Peter was like, I don't want to do it because without a creative person there next to me, because, I don't think it's really Peter's world.
Right.
I mean, it is to some extent, but
well, there's nothing wrong like having a second, a guy next to you who's like, okay, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Okay, here's what I think. Here's my point. Here's where I think we can go. Blah blah blah. So somebody you can trust who is in essence going to help guide where you want something to go. Him and Peter working together since they have such a great relationship already. But look, DeLuca and Abdi are not out of the equation either. It's almost like a Hydra situation. It feels like you've got 4 heads, 2 heads going forward, but there are other 2 heads that are right there working on the same kind of stuff around the edges with Gunn and SAFFRAN. So it seems like it's going to be a number of people who are involved in the process.
And I
Although
think
those
that was
two,
an important thing to show some solidarity, like you
Yeah.
know, with police and some of the quotes. Like, yeah, they are going to be reporting directly to Zaslav, right? Because
Right.
it's their own studio in a sense.
Yeah.
But Mike and Pam are going to be, working closely alongside them a lot. And then they name drop like every fucking executive under the sun at Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you're working alongside Channing Dungey. So they're going to be doing TV. They're going to be overseeing fucking merch and just like all this stuff, consumer products. It was, quite something on a synergy level.
Yeah.
I think it's the right message to send, that it's like, finally, we're all going to get on the same fucking page.
Yeah, and SAFFRAN just recently, his company re-upped their production deal with Warner's. So it's not like they have no connection with Warner's beyond the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker situation. They've got a relationship with them already. And so that is a good thing. And like you said, they name dropped a bunch of people. They had some comments here. We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe that still allows for the individual expression of the artists involved. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley Quinn being mentioned with these icons. That is massive, right? And the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equal by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories of all. Jeff, that's a hell of a quote from Gunn and SAFFRAN. So what do you anticipate we're going to get here? Because already...
How can he not do Superman, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Cavill came out and said, we're going to give you an enormously joyful Superman.
Which was one of the worst quotes I've ever read.
I fell down on my face.
Of ever.
Yeah, I fell down on my face when I read that quote because I'm like, no, I love Man of Steel. Give me his journey. I don't want to see the enormously joyful, happy Superman, because then all those Donner people who want their Christopher Reeve resurrected from the dead win. And I don't want that. I like that he carved his own path as Superman. Can you make him a little softer, make him have some cracks and jokes and whatever? Sure, fine, no problem.
Conversation unto itself, but it's like, I still don't understand why they're going back to this guy 12 years later, at least, right? Since Man of Steel. I just don't understand. Like, if you're going to reimagine Superman, he's going to be joyful this time around. Why not just recast him?
Yeah. No, I don't agree with that. He is Superman, and people went crazy when they saw him in the theater. So why would you recast him? Like, people love him as Superman.
When we say people went crazy when they saw him in the theater, right? People went crazy when they saw him in the theater.
Yes.
The movie opened to a quarter of Spider-Man of the third Spider-Man movie, right?
Come on. You can't compare.
I think you can.
You can't compare Spider-Man to Black Adam. You can't. What are you talking about?
Like, when the price is similar, I think that you can. It's just like a $70 million opening. It just doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. Like, maybe it was a win for this movie, but going forward, it's not enough.
It's a smaller character. Superman, if Superman had been a part of the movie, I wonder what the box office would have been, especially the return of Cavill. Having him be a huge part of the movie might have been a whole different situation. Box office wise, you would have had a better idea, I think, for your point of view and your argument, to see how many people came to see the movie because Cavill was involved in it. Now
for
that he's
2
going,
seconds, for 3, give me a break. Come on, who's shelling out money to see Henry Cavill in that movie?
This guy right here.
You're crazy.
I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I'm glad that he's back. Josh Horowitz interviewed him on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. So go watch that interview if you want. Like, he's happy. He's happy to be back. I agree with you, though, Jeff. I don't like enormously joyful Superman, but my mind is open because also James Gunn in that Peacemaker series showed you that he could walk that line between politically incorrect and politically correct and deliver a damn good show. And so if we're getting some of that vibe bleeding into these characters, and look, Marvel's all jokey jokes most of the time. So why wouldn't DC kind of play with that, but in a more, how can I say this, a more grittier way that could be interesting to explore through James's prism and Safran's prism?
I'm just saying, if you're taking over DC and you're signed to produce and direct movies for them, right?
Yeah,
it calls for him to do both, and he's not allowed to direct outside of DC, outside of Warner Brothers and DC, technically.
Yeah.
And so he either is not directing a movie for the next 4 years,
right,
or
right.
he is going to direct what is most likely a DC movie. Right?
Yes, right. He's exclusive to DC.
Well, I mean, technically, he could go and direct a Warner Brothers movie if they wanted him to make reboot the Matrix. Sure. He's under the Warner Brothers umbrella, really.
Yes.
That's who's paying him or whatever. But yes, he's running DC. You think he's going to direct a DC movie? Why wouldn't he assign himself, so to speak, or hire himself for Superman, which is the biggest movie that they have?
Yeah,
right.
I don't disagree with you.
Reeves, Joker's called for. I just how do you not give yourself Superman? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And when you mentioned these other characters, Abdi and DeLuca are going to shepherd the Joker sequel. The Matt Reeves Batman sequel, there is no report yet on who is going to be shepherding that one aside from Matt Reeves. Is that going to be under Gunn and Safran, or is that going to be under DeLuca and Abdi? They haven't said yet. And so we'll see how that plays. Because, I mean, you couldn't get farther from James Gunn's aesthetic than the Batman. So it could be interesting to see if he's just going to be allowed to do his own thing, Matt Reeves, and then Gunn's going to understand how to let an artist play. And do you think this move – go ahead, yeah.
I think that Matt Reeves' Batman trilogy is like that is sort of its own thing, just like the Joker movies are sort of like they're spoken for.
Yeah, so to speak. Do you think this will attract more interesting directors that maybe were hesitant to work with DC? Do you think now these directors might take a second look? Some actors might take a second look. Cavill coming back? Does this?
Yes and no. And no. That's a great question on it. Okay, so here's the thing. If it's like, all right, now I get to work with James Gunn, who knows his shit. Like maybe it's like, oh, he's a great. Maybe you look up to him as a storyteller. And you're like, oh, I get to bounce out ideas off this guy, and like this is just going to be good for me in general, and I can learn from him. Yeah. Or you're like, why the fuck am I taking notes from James Gunn? Right? I've been competing with him for jobs on movies for the last 20 years, and I've been beating him for jobs, and like now all of a sudden he's giving me notes. So what the fuck? I don't want to work with this guy.
Right.
That's the way it could go.
Okay. All right. I like the idea of maybe the doors opening up again. And does this now feel like, because a lot of the articles were like, finally something good. Does it feel for DC? Does it feel like this is stability? Do you feel that it's the dawn
of a new day? It's the dawn of a new day for sure.
All right, fair enough.
Asking that Nikki question above, and then we'll get to the Marvel stuff.
I got some Streamlabs super chats to hit you for.
Any other questions, and then we'll go to Marvel as the next topic.
Sounds good. Owen Lanning says, Jeff, I just looked at your blog spot and Sleeping Other People's rated. A drum roll, 2.5 stars. You nailed it, Jeff. Good job.
I'm telling you, I can remember the rating I give to almost every movie.
This guy. He's going to be doing that in the nursing home when he's 80. 2.5 stars. I'm telling you.
I gave that movie 1.5 stars.
Charlie, I gave that one 2 stars. Sucked says, Cavill is a terrible Clark Kent. And a bad actor. But who do you think will direct the new Superman movie? Hey, you're wrong on both counts. Sucked. Yeah. You suck for saying that.
I like Henry Cavill. I just want people to get this straight. I think Henry Cavill is a very good Superman. I just think from a business perspective, from a financial perspective, Warner Brothers could do better. We know what his ceiling is. Okay. Yeah. And even if it's 700, 800, even if it's fucking 900 million, it ain't $1 billion. And you're Superman. Okay. And if you can't make $1 billion with Superman in this fucking atmosphere, that's on you.
Okay, that's fair. But if it's James Gunn directing Henry Cavill in Superman, do you think $1 billion is on the table?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And maybe that is the switch. It's like no one wants to see fucking dour Superman. Okay, so maybe that is the switch that they need to make. But then again, how many people want to see a 52-year-old Lois Lane? You know, like just.
I'm not addressing that. Juan Martinez says, question for Jeff: with the recent passing of Nikki Fink, what/who influenced you to become a film reporter, and have you in any capacity worked in film production or would you like to in the future? Oh my God. No, Jeff would not.
I spent 24, I'm not even going to say 24 hours. I spent 12 hours on the set of a movie. Naturally, that movie went on to win Best Picture. It was called The Departed.
Departed.
I was on the second unit. I worked on the second unit for like one 12-hour shift. I fell asleep. I fell asleep on set at 12:30 in the morning. It was a 4:30 to 4:30 shift. I fell asleep at around 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It was not for me. Okay. See these hands? These are writer's hands, and they're soft like a baby's ass. Okay?
Let me tell you something.
I'm not sure for production.
Jeff's been counting money all his life. He's got man.
That is not true. That is definitely I've been counting money this year. I have not been counting money all my life.
Keldrick Pickens says, Matt Maloney on his podcast, The Town, had on Boris Kitt this week as a guest covering the James Gunn DC news. And Matt asked if the Black Superman will still happen, and Boris said yes. Jeff, any insight on this?
On Black Superman? Listen, Black Superman I just think is good business.
Yeah. But do you think it'll happen? Do you think it will happen like Boris says?
Do I think it will happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it. Do I think it will happen? Yes. I don't know why James Gunn's Superman can't be black. But again, how many fucking Superman are we gonna have? Like,
yeah.
You know, can we really have Henry Cavill flying around as Superman, and then there's another Superman? And I get that maybe we're doing the same thing with Batman, right? Where there's going to be Michael Keaton and maybe we see Affleck and, you know, we have Pattinson over here, but I just don't know if it's the same thing. They'd have to have a really good explanation for everything.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
You know, Boris is obviously very plugged into DC. You know, I think he probably has an in with, you know, SAFFRAN or whatever. I mean, he, you know, if you notice this week that in addition to this story, he also had the Conjuring 4 story. Right. Okay, which is also SAFFRAN. So it's like, I'm not trying to blow up Boris's spot, but I think Boris is very well sourced, particularly, obviously in comic book stuff, but particularly when it comes to DC and the new regime in DC. He's had great insights, and I will have to check that podcast out. I didn't realize that Boris was on Bellany Show. Bellany would never have me on his show. You know why, right?
Why?
Because I'd take his job right out from him.
There it is. There it is. We should get Boris Kidd on this show, for God's sakes. Let's see. We
Love you, Matt. Love you.
Louis Keep fan says James Cameron has not made a movie I care for since True Lies. For a guy who doesn't make that many movies and his latest involvement in Terminator was nothing, his opinion is quite a non-starter, in my honest opinion. Well, I wouldn't say that. It's James Cameron, for God's sakes. I wouldn't say he's a non-starter. What would you say? Would you address that at all? No.
What was it?
You know, I'm speaking in English, motherfucker. Pay attention to what I'm saying.
He's hired me to be reporters, which were like the Ain't It Cool News folks and Dark Horizons and Patrick Sorial at Coming Attractions, Coming Attractions, which was up in Canada. The first movie that I ever followed its development, I guess this is what got me hooked, was American Psycho.
Oh, yeah, right. I remember that film.
1999 movie, or was it 2000? It was one of those, 99 or 2000.
Don't ask me. You know I'm not good at movie release dates.
But it had been in development for years. So I think I started reading about American Psycho around 96 when it was going to be DiCaprio.
Oh, God. 2000 American Psycho. Yeah. Let's see here. Adam Jimenez says, don't diss on 50 plus Lois Lane. Clark likes Cougars. Don't have a problem with that. It's 2022 Superman.
Hey,
LOL.
Amy Adams is gorgeous. I should be so lucky. All right. Should we talk about Marvel?
All right. Real quick, though. 461 of you are joining us live right now. Thank you very much for joining us. 470 now. Please make sure you hit a like on this video and send in your Streamlabs and SuperChats, ladies. Support the show, for God's sakes. You know, we're bringing you scoops. We're bringing you news. We're authentic as fuck. Send in your Streamlabs and SuperChats. You see it above Jeff's head. It's pinned in the chat. It's in the description of the video. Send in your love for the show. That's how we can keep doing it every week. Jeff, you got big Marvel news. Break it down.
Okay, I got two things.
Yeah.
Two. So the first one's a little appetizer. Let's talk about it.
Go ahead.
And some of this stuff has, been rumored on other places. There's been some speculation about this stuff out there before. Mm-hmm. But I'm told that Dr. Doom is not the villain in Fantastic Four. that Doctor Doom will be introduced basically in like a mid-credit or post-credit scene
in Fantastic Four. Wow.
I'm told, yeah, that which I think makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That and I even watched in researching for this video, I saw something online. It was a very thoughtful video someone did out there. They had like 67,000 views, so I know people have seen it.
Nice.
But it like broke down why with Secret Wars, why it would make sense for Doom to not be the villain in Fantastic Four, and how they would set them up for a sequel.
Wow.
So that's what I've been told.
Massive. Okay.
And that's just a little appetizer.
Okay.
So I don't know who the villain would be. I think that this video speculated Molecule Man. I have no insight into anything like that. Who are the other villains in Fantastic Four? Like Silver Surfer and
Silver Surfer, Mole Man, Galactus. There's a number of villains in Fantastic Four that you could play around with for sure. But I mean, Doom is always the top one. So
it's just interesting because I think we'd all heard Doom rumors, or we'd heard actors who'd maybe been meeting with Marvel. Or Fantastic Four, and some people had assumed Doom, because they were male actors of a certain age or whatever.
Could be Super Skrull, because you've got Secret Invasion coming. That's a possibility. Namor has been a villain with the Fantastic Four. We've certainly known that Namor is coming in a couple of weeks in Wakanda Forever. Annihilus is another one. So there's a number of villains that could be messing around with.
But apparently it won't be Dr. Doom, and he will be introduced.
Interesting.
Okay. The other big thing. This is the big thing, and this is we'll see if the trades follow on this one, because this is going to be hard, I think, for Marvel to deny at this point. We'll see. All right. And this was rumored almost a year and a half ago, I think, on Giant Freaking Robot. Original.
Okay. Giving credit where credit is due. Appreciate that.
Now legit. Like, now I can confirm it in case you guys doubted that report.
Okay.
I have a little detail here. I'm told that next week Marvel will be opening a writer's room for a Vision show titled Vision Quest.
Ooh. So Vision from WandaVision coming back in his own show, and it's going to be called Vision Quest.
That is what I've heard, and that there is a writer's room being assembled next week for that show.
Wow. That is huge. I mean, the last we saw Vision was, of course, at the end of WandaVision as his all-white self going off, the Vision that Wanda knew she had to eventually destroy, destroy the whole mind control thing. And we certainly saw her as a villain in Multiverse of Madness until what happened to her. But Feige made it very clear we didn't see a body. And he thinks he's going to have Elizabeth Olsen back as Scarlet Witch. So Vision Quest could be either him on a quest to find himself and connect to the original Vision, or on a quest to find Wanda to see where she is and bring her back.
Yeah, there's some sort of, I think a Vision Quest may have been a comic book storyline, because I did a little bit of research. All I could find was some event on Marvel.com. It says Vision Quest. In this chapter of the West Coast Avengers, the Vision receives a startling transformation after he is kidnapped, has his memory wiped, and discovers the true and tragic nature of his children with Scarlet Witch. Plus, the U.S. agent joins the A-Team, and the Great Lakes Avengers make their spectacular debut. So, I don't know. Again, I'm not a comics person.
Right.
I don't know if that would be the storyline here, where Vision is kidnapped and has his memory wiped and whatever.
Yeah.
But what I understand, there will be writers gathering next week to begin writing a show titled Vision Quest.
Listen, everything you just broke down, because I didn't know about Vision Quest, so everything you just broke down makes a lot of sense, because certainly Jeremy Renner has been hinting at the fact that he'd love to come back as Hawkeye to lead the West Coast Avengers. I was an avid collector of West Coast Avengers. I still got stacks of it somewhere here in the house. So that could tie up here. Many people thought when he became the all-white Vision at the end of WandaVision that he was going towards looking like the character that Vision looked like in West Coast Avengers. Having his mind wiped is very, because that seemed like what happened at the end of WandaVision. U.S. Agent is going to be part of Thunderbolts, and the Great Lakes Avengers means a number of Avengers could be coming into this situation to be part of it. So that is all of that. They've kind of are laying the seeds for that already. So I'm not surprised if that's the story they're going with. I'm not surprised that is where
there's no guarantee that this show even gets made. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
You know all the things, but this is coming from a good source who's been accurate in the past, and I
and here's another part that's crazy. Mr. Immortal is the leader of the Great Lakes Avengers. Mr. Immortal showed up in She-Hulk and was the guy who plays Selena her ex-husband in Veep. So he's got a very comedic bent to him.
So
to have
Reed?
Yeah. So to have him leading the West Coast, that's kind of interesting. The Great Lakes Avengers with the West Coast Avengers, with Vision, with U.S. Agent, could be very, very interesting, to say the least. So it seems like they're dropping the seeds. So what you're speculating on could very well be happening.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Speaking Spanish right now.
Jeff leads me to water, but I'm the one that drinking while he's like, I'm not sure.
The taste tester in case I get poisoned by Marvel snipers.
All right, let's hit some of these Streamlabs. Any more Marvel stuff? Or is that it?
How much more do you want?
All right,
like that. Sure. Above the line presents the hot mic.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna clip that out for sure. Wayne Edwards says, I am pleased about Gunn and SAFFRAN taking over DC Studios. Very exciting. I heard Macquarie might be the first choice to write and direct next Superman film. Thoughts? Thanks, guys. Yeah, Wayne, I said that last week, that I thought Macquarie might be in line for this one. Jeff speculated that he's got another year or two before he's done with the Mission Impossible films. Certainly, I don't think there's a new Superman film coming next year. So he could start the process of writing or coming up with an idea for it. Maybe Gunn helps initiate the process, and then Macquarie comes in to take over, just like he did for Top Gun Maverick. He came in at late stages of the script and really kind of honed it and cleaned it up. And some people argue he was like the X factor that made that film such a success. So that could be the same thing happening here with the Superman situation, as he's also doing post-production for Mission Impossible. Do you think that Macquarie is the odds-on favorite?
I mean, I don't know if he's the favorite. I'm sure they would love to have him. I don't know, what his schedule is like. I really don't know if he could take something like that on. But I don't know what he's capable of. Maybe he can, direct Mission Impossible 8 while writing Superman. Beats me.
Maybe.
I think he'd be a great choice. Obviously, the Mission Impossible movies, he has turned that into the greatest, live action franchise that we have, like, ongoing. Now, in my opinion, and a big part of that is Macquarie. So, if they, I don't know if they should wait for him necessarily, because I think that they have to get this off the ground. But
okay, all right. Antagonistic Anonymous says, "I just want Mystery of Fantastic Four cast to be over before San Diego Comic-Con
next summer."
Next summer, I would imagine it would be.
But it will, because I just find that they really have to get these actors in place earlier and earlier these days. Yeah. Mainly because there's so many shows and there's so much competition for them.
Yes.
So how long out did Blade? Oh, by the way, we should even fucking talk about that rumor, the Blade rumor. Did you see that today?
Go ahead, talk about it, man.
I was getting at the point, like, how long had Mahershala Ali been attached to Blade, before we're actually going to see the movie? Probably a long fucking time. But there was a rumor today about Elegance Bratton directing Blade. Now, Elegance Bratton did The Inspection, which I thought was terrific.
Okay.
I think he's very talented.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that's what people do these days, right? They make really beautiful movies, like Chloe, like Chloe did, and then they go off and make fucking Marvel movies. I would be a little bummed if that is how Elegance Bratton chose to follow The Inspection, but I also understand struggling and making an indie movie and the financial reality of that, and taking a payday, or at least setting yourself up for future paydays by taking a Marvel job.
Look, being a black filmmaker, you don't get a lot of opportunities. You got to fight for those opportunities. And so if you get an opportunity to make a mark on a Marvel film, look at Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler is never going back to being Ryan Coogler, independent filmmaker. He is now.
Not. I hope that's not true.
I'm saying he is already a superstar film director.
Sure.
If Elegance Bratton gets Blade right, he could be a superstar film director. And if you are, your quotes are way different than when you were making Fruitvale Station or The Inspection. So there's a opportunity to do something really powerful. And I would say that Marvel has shown over the last few years to have a really good track record in showcasing diverse cultures in Marvel, with Shang-Chi, with Black Panther, now apparently with Wakanda Forever, and
now vampires get their moment in the sun. Whoops. Can't do that.
Yeah. Jay Master says, just discussing films, just tweeted out your Vision Quest Disney Plus series, giving you credit for breaking out the news. That's very kind of them. Thank you. I'll have to work on time codes as soon as this is done. I like to take a break, but I guess not. John Weilbecker says, saying Cavill has a sub 1 billion cap because of his first reboot solo film ignores a ton of context. You will make more with a Cavill-led Superman film than a recast. He is well liked in the role. Jeff?
He is well liked in the role. Like, people like, I mean, the people who go to see him like him.
Yes.
But he's not. I mean, not that I'm saying you need to cast some kind of draw, because that's not how Superman has traditionally been.
No, Christopher Reeve wasn't a star. Brandon Routh was certainly not a star.
It's tough to have this conversation because I feel like we've had it the last few weeks.
Fair enough. Okay, we can move on.
No. But like, if you have Superman as a character, right? If we're living in a world where Spider-Man makes $2 billion, was it?
Yeah.
Joker and Aquaman make $1 billion.
Yeah.
How can Superman not be making $1 billion? If it's not, it's being mismanaged.
Yeah.
Right, and that's not all on Henry Cavill.
Right.
I understand that, but I'm not 100% convinced that a recast wouldn't get you more, because simply for the curiosity factor and that people know what they're getting with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, good point. Let's see. Sean Ridley says, Sean Ridley's Napoleon test next week. Hope it's okay. He's seeing Ridley Scott's Napoleon test next week. I hope it's okay. Oof. Are you seeing that one, Jeff?
To the test screening? No, I am not going. Let us know how it is, though. So give us the time. I like that. Yeah, I'm very curious. I have high hopes for that one.
Omar Solomon said, news about Daredevil being in the next Spidey film. Do you have anything on that? No. All right, good to know. And Polythangos, thanks for the super sticker, Pythagoras. I appreciate it madly. We appreciate it madly. Send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats here. We're probably going to wrap up here in a few minutes. So if you want to have any questions answered, if you want to send in support, send in your thanks for the show. Send it in through Streamlabs and Super Chats. Streamlabs is where we like it because Super Chats take 50%. We'll take Super Chats, but Streamlabs, if you can do it, would be the better so that we can get the most benefit from that. Jeff, two things on Marvel before we leave Marvel. Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania trailer dropped, and the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer dropped. And I believe, if I read your tweet correctly, that trailer melted your cold black heart to make you excited for a Christmas thing.
I thought that holiday special looked like a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I get the specials like now. Like, at first I'm like, oh, this just looks like this is exactly what I feared would happen, right? When they launched Disney Plus and they're going to just start making Groot short films and just like stripping this MCU for parts, basically. But I see with Werewolf by Night, like, this is the Halloween special. This is the Christmas special with Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not a bad strategy, and it does look like fun. Unfortunately, Ant-Man looks like every other fucking Marvel movie that I've seen in the last few years.
Okay.
And I really loved the original Ant-Man. It's my favorite Marvel movie because it's different. Yeah. And so I was pretty disappointed. What did you think of these two trailers?
I loved the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special trailer. I was nervous about it because I'm like, do we really need to point out that we're funny? But then I saw it and I was like, this is great. The Kevin Bacon thing is genius because Peter is stuck in the 80s. So it makes all the sense in the world that Kevin Bacon would be someone you would get to bring up. And don't forget, Kevin Bacon was the villain in X-Men Days of Future Past or X-Men First Class. So could be very interesting to play with that somehow now that they own the X-Men situation. It could be a lot of fun to play with that. But the other one, the Ant-Man I was really surprised because that is usually those films have been a palate cleanser in between serious films. Introducing your big bad in Ant-Man and the Wasp is really surprising because Kang is going to be massive. And so using the funny franchise to launch your serious villain, I think is a hell of a turn for a franchise here. And certainly there weren't a lot of jokes in that trailer. It felt much more serious with Janet saying that she hasn't told them the full truth about what it was like in Quantumania. Catherine Newton, because young kids love to fuck around with shit, sending them into the quantum realm. So there's a lot to explore here within the quantum realm. And as we saw in Ms. Marvel, universes attacking the main universe is not an unknown thing. So it looks like Kang is marshaling his forces from the quantum realm to attack the main universe. So this could be really, really interesting. And I wonder if there are going to be that many jokes in this one.
It certainly doesn't look as comedic as the first film. And I understand the stakes are bigger.
Yeah.
For Ant-Man. But I don't know. Like, I just liked how that was a different tone than the other Marvel movies, and now it's another save. We've got to save the universe. We're stuck in the quantum realm. What do we do? I just
All right, fair enough. Micah says City on a Hill canceled after 3 seasons. Thoughts? Speaking of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, him and Aldous Hodge, who was announced as the new Alex Cross today, which I think is amazing, brilliant fucking casting. Love that. I will miss City on a Hill. I haven't watched season 3. I watched the first 2 seasons. The first season was better than the second.
Agreed.
It was like a kind of missed opportunity, I think, as a Boston show overall. It never quite got its due.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, Aldous Hodge is going to be playing Alex Cross. For those of you who used to read those James Patterson books like I did, I never liked Morgan Freeman in the role, never liked Tyler Perry in the role. I'm excited by Aldous Hodge in the role. That's more specific. That feels much more like Alex Cross to me than either of those two gentlemen who are wonderful actors in their own right in different ways. But having Aldous Hodge come in, I think is going to have that edge that was missing from both those portrayals. So I'm looking forward to that myself. The Jughead one says, greetings to you both, John and Jeff. My brothers looking forward to Wakanda Forever. Wish they recast another strong black male lead, though. Love and respect from the UK guys. Yeah, let me ask you that, Jeff. The recast T'Challa movement, there are quite a lot of people who are in the recast T'Challa movement, and not because they want to disrespect Chadwick Boseman, quite the opposite. They want to have Black Panther be another black strong male who represents the community there and represents that comic there. So that character rather. What do you think about the recast T'Challa movement?
I didn't know there was a movement. I don't like to think of these things as movements, so to speak.
Fine. What campaign? How about
new
campaign?
Black Panther? Is the new Black Panther definitely female? I don't even know.
I don't know. It seems like from the trailer she's female, so I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. Other people haven't speculated on it, but all right. Well, I think it's a legitimate thing, and I totally respect people's points of view on it. But Marvel's going to make the decision that they're going to make, and it doesn't mean a male Black Panther isn't also down the road, isn't in the cards down the road, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just think it's tough to do it right now. That wound is still raw. I mean, and that's a huge loss, right, for an entire community. It was really felt worldwide. So that's one of the biggest tweets of all time, isn't it?
What's that?
The tweet announcing his passing?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's like one of the top 20. Yeah, just like this wasn't just Hollywood losing its favorite son. Yeah. It was much bigger than that and deeper.
I agree. Yeah. John Baker, I hope I'm saying that right, brother. Says box office these days is as much about momentum than draw. Cavill Soups brings with it momentum that a recast won't. It should make $1 billion. It should make $1 billion, and Cavill adds that needs a great director and marketing too. Yeah, for sure, John, for sure.
It needs this, it needs that, and yeah,
it's fair. Fantastic 314 says the story for Superman will be everything if they wanted to make $1 billion at the box office. The same was for Top Gun Maverick because I didn't think it would hit nearly 1.5 billion the way it did. Yeah, I agree with you, Fred. I certainly, when Jeff and I saw it at CinemaCon, I loved it, but I wasn't sure people were going to go. When it kept making money, I just was like one of the happiest people on the planet because for once it was like, yes, a good movie that legitimately gets people in the theaters, that is not a superhero movie that people want to see over and over again. And it reminded me of the heyday of the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, even, when people would go and patronize a film over and over and over again because they loved the way the film made them feel. And that was cool to see.
Okay, so let's say this movie doesn't gross $1 billion. Let's say it tops out at 750, which is, maybe, I think Man of Steel was just under 7, but you factor in Justice League and all this. Let's just say it gets to 750 or even 8. Is that a success? Is that a success? Batman, but it was a success for the Batman, wasn't it?
Right, because of COVID.
But the Batman, I feel like is different in that it's very grounded, right? The action scenes. Yeah. So it's different. Superman is going to have a bigger budget than that Batman movie.
Yeah, Man of Steel made $668 million total worldwide. So if it makes $800 million or $900 million, I think that's a win.
Sure, but okay, let's say it goes up $100 million roughly. Let's say it goes to 750.
Yeah, that's not good. I would say that's not good. Superman is your number one DC character. Not Wonder Woman, not Batman, not Harley Quinn, not Aquaman. Superman is your Spider-Man of the DC universe. That is your number one character. So it has to perform. And I think people just didn't like the Zack Snyder approach, which is why it only made 6, even though I do.
It's not the actor, it's the aesthetic. It's the movies that he was in. That's what you're saying.
Yes. If you make the enormously joyful Superman and you bring back the magic, you bring back that feeling of Americana that people connect to Superman, and the vibe of that Superman who wants to save people isn't quite as dour as people described it in Snyder's thing, which I disagree with, then I think more people will come to see it multiple times, just like Top Gun Maverick, because it'll make them feel good. It'll make them feel like they can escape to a place that is a fantasy place that takes them away from their own lives for like 2 hours or 2.5 hours. That's what Superman represents. He represents what we could be. Batman is what we are. Superman is what we could be. And that's the truth.
Well, I think Batman is a bigger character than Superman.
How dare you? How dare you? But, yeah, people say Batman's number one. You're insane. You're fucking insane.
It was called Batman versus Superman, not Superman versus Batman.
Well, that's because of what? Cavill plus Gunn. Cavill plus Gunn equals $1 billion, says Jay West. All right, let's see here. I've got any stream. AZ Badfish said, just sending some support. Thanks for the show, fellas. John, hope your birthday went great. You got something good. I did, AZ. Thank you. Thank you, AZ. I appreciate it. A lot of
Babylon talking in the comments, but no one wants to pay for it. So
yeah. What's the deal? The Babylon.
We're not going to talk about it unless somebody pays for it.
Yeah, somebody sent in a Streamlabs or talking about Babylon. Then we'll talk about it. Yeah. Because a lot of controversy around that situation there. For those of us who are people of color, no surprise. But for those for other people, they seem to be a little upset about it. So
God, please, somebody send in fucking $1 for this.
Let's see, what else do we have on the list? Real quick, let's do some quick shots. Do you want to do some quick shots before we get out of here?
All right, yes, because I can't stay all day. I got 2 sites to run.
You said you could go all night. All right, let's see here. She said,
what you say to get started. I can go all night. An hour later, you're like, I got to get back to work.
John Wovick says Babylon is a movie. Discuss.
What is the controversy here, John? What are you upset about? What is the conspiracy this week against Latinos?
Not Latinos, people of color.
What is
that's the Babylon situation here, how they're listing who is going to be nominated for what in terms of the Oscars. Matt Neglia posted Best Actor Brad Pitt, Best Actress Margot Robbie, Best Supporting Actress Jean Smart. That's who they're submitting. And then Best Supporting Actor Diego Calva. But a lot of people think Diego Calva should be best actor, the nomination, not Brad Pitt. But then Matt Neglia went back to the site on Paramount, and it looks like it was removed. So there was a backlash to this that was out there from people saying, why isn't Diego being nominated for Best Actor? Why is it Brad Pitt? Why is it the white guy?
Really?
I'm just telling you, asked the fucking question. I'm giving you the answer.
It's like some Oscar nerd is constantly refreshing the award site for some studio, which put up some like temporary graphic. And the second it went up there, they seized on it and they're like, this is the big plan. Everybody look. Like, what? Anyone who's talked to anyone about Babylon knows that Brad Pitt is a supporting actor.
Mm-hmm. But then why is he being nominated for Best Actor?
He's not. It was wrong.
Okay.
Right? They're saying, oh, they changed it after the backlash. You think that they changed their entire campaign strategy after a backlash that lasted 2 to 3 hours? I mean, I barely had the chance to wipe the boogers from my fucking eyes before this controversy had already been extinguished. Like, give me a break.
Fair enough. Meta Awesome says, I respectfully disagree. John, Batman is the Spider-Man. You're insane. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. He isn't. He isn't. Superman is the one. Batman is. You guys are just saying that because you like a guy who kills people, or sorry, beats people up for committing crimes, and you like the badness of Batman.
Superman was like literally irrelevant in movies for 30 years.
More people connect to Superman. So Superman before Batman, 1978. Need I tell you?
Exactly.
Also, back in George Reeves, there was no George Reeves Batman show that was as good as the George Reeves Batman back in the 50s. Come on now. There was a Batman in the 40s, but it was not that good. Black Cinema Critic says, for Jeff Sneider, check E-Man's Reviews YouTube for the hashtag recast T'Challa movement petition details, and you will understand how much of a big deal it is. There you go, Jeff. If you want to check it out, get a little information. Sucked says, John, come on. The last scene with Clark Kent and Man of Steel after the city got destroyed is insane. The rest of the movie is fine, but that part is bad. What last scene? Do you mean the snapping of the neck? I think that's one of the greatest scenes in any comic book movie ever. It's one of the gutsiest scenes. He is willing to kill the one person that connects him to his father, his biological father, that connects him to Krypton, his home planet. He is willing to kill that person to save humans on his adopted home world now. That is huge. And the scream he lets out is from the fact that he is the last Kryptonian left in existence. It is the pain that comes out of him. And fuck you about destroying the city. Go rewatch Avengers and see how much the city's getting destroyed, for God's sakes. Don't be ridiculous. All right. That's my 2 cents on that.
You guys John's the soft spot there. He's got a lot of
yeah, it's true. Adam West. Yes, Adam West in the 1960s, followed by, right. George Reeves first, then Adam West. But Adam West's, that's a cheesy Batman. Come on, guys. Let's get real. That's not actually Batman.
What else we got? Is there anything left?
Real quick. She Said is coming out soon. I saw it at the San Diego Film Festival. I absolutely loved it, Jeff. I saw Scott tweet about it. Manston tweet about it. Loved it as well. Do you see Oscar chances? Do you see Hollywood nominating a film about, in essence, them turning a blind eye to a serial sexual predator who has won a number of Oscars from that organization for his campaigning?
Yes, because people in Hollywood don't think that they turned a blind eye to it. I mean, obviously they did, but no one's going to think of themselves like that. Maybe they'll think of the person next to them as being complicit, but they won't think of themselves. So I do think it will be an Oscar contender.
Okay.
An Oscar contender.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've heard it's very good, but I've heard it's not quite spotlight level, and I still think it'll be tough to compete with the Spielberg movie, especially coming from the same studio, knowing that you're going to get second position in terms of a campaign, really.
I would like the director to be nominated. I thought she did a fantastic job. I think Zoe Kazan and Carey Mulligan, I don't know how you pick between the two, or maybe you put them both in contention for best supporting since they're essentially co-leads. So maybe both best actress. I don't know.
Zoe lead and Carey Mulligan is supporting.
Okay. All right. I guess that's the way you go there on that one. But I thought it was incredible. And so I can't recommend it enough. I'm going to do a review right before it comes out for sure. John Wildbecker says that next step wasn't earned. You cite Avengers, but they show the Avengers trying to save regular people. Show Superman trying to avoid civilian deaths in the final neck. It was his first fucking mission, John. It was his first fucking mission, John. Captain America had been carrying out missions before. Iron Man had been doing a number of things. Black Widow had been doing them. Hawkeye had won missions. This was Superman's first fucking fight, John. Well, how'd you do the first time you had sex, John? Did you fumble around and fuck up? I'm just saying.
This is my life, and we're wasting it one superhero movie conversation at a time.
All right. That's what I'm just putting it on the table. All right. Anything else?
Hey, the scoops this week. Above the line, we're going to mention our sponsor. Above the line, Becky Ann Baker playing Jason Sudeikis' mom in season 3 of Ted Lasso.
That's
massive.
Broke
that this week. We also broke the news this week that there's not going to be a lavash in the Sausage Party series.
Ooh.
Okay, because I was looking at it, I was like, are they really going to let David Krumholtz voice a Muslim Palestinian again?
That's true.
And they asked Yasir Lester, who's of Palestinian descent. So I was like, oh, is he taking over Lavash? Nope, I'm told Lavash is not in Foodtopia. Check that story out on AboveTheLine.com.
Okay. What do you feel about Apple topping its estimates with a record quarter revenue of $90 billion, although its service growth has dropped to 5? What do you think about that?
Pass.
You don't want to talk about that. It's not a big deal.
You want to talk about earnings reports on this podcast? First of all, with Netflix, they're relevant. That's why we posted the earnings on our site. With Apple, Amazon, they have nothing to do. I'm like, that money is from other shit. It has nothing to do with the movies or the show. So who cares?
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I don't know if I see anything else. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you all so much for joining us for this edition of the Hot Mic, brought to you by Above the Line. As Jeff said, go to AboveTheLine.com and read all their articles and scoops and reviews and breakdowns. Great stuff going on there. I'm trying to come up with an idea for some articles to pitch to Jeff. We'll see if that ever comes up in my brain. Jeff, where can they find you? Everything going on?
AboveTheLine.com. We're going to have a new episode of FYC tomorrow morning talking about the best actor race and the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about the whale, folks. I'm talking about Will Smith. Also, BTLnews.com. The Ankler. We had the big article on Amazon this week. It was a lot of work, a lot of words. Have fun reading that. And then LAMag.com. I interviewed David Duchovny this week.
Oh. Boatman to Boatman? Is that what you're saying? Are you two like comparing notes? What happened in this interview? Justin Petty saying thoughts on Chapek's orders to Lucasfilm. I don't know. Chapek saying that animated films are not for adults. It's crazy for him to say that. John, are you bringing your box of tissues for Wakanda Forever? There's going to be a lot of tears and emotions. I'm bringing my own on November 11th. I am. Suck says I didn't mean the next step meant the scenes afterwards. Oh yeah, they're fine. I'm fine with all those scenes. Superman's first mission, ops all civilians death. Yeah, that's inspired. Like I said, John, your first time having sex. Talk to me about it. All right, that's it.
Insult the people paying our salaries.
I'm not insulting. I'm just
John, I humbly apologize to you on behalf of my co-host.
There you go.
Let's wrap this up.
John says, I'll take the ignore as a win. You should, John. You should. Come back and see us. Thank you all so much for joining us here on the Hot Mic. You can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And please follow me. I'm trying to get to 35,000 followers on Twitter. I'm stuck at 32 right now. Come and be a part of getting me to 35,000. Subscribe to the channel down below. We have the Hot Mic every week live on the channel. Subscribe to it, but also find us on the podcast. Wherever you download podcasts, go and find the Hot Mic. Subscribe to it. Leave us ratings. Leave a review. We would appreciate it madly. Jeff and I are already discussing how we can do a podcast-specific episode every week, maybe half an hour on 2 topics. And the only place it's going to live is in the podcast. So subscribe to it now so we can get our numbers up and attract advertisers for that as well. All right, that's it from me. That's it from Jeff. You guys are awesome. We love you madly. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week on the Hot Mic.